Should be live here. So we gotta do something a little different today. Whoops. Got some control stuff that needs looking at. At least I'm gonna take a look at this now, and then depending on where I get, I might do something else in the afternoon. But for now, gotta make a little progress here. Oh, and hang on. There were a couple quick emails. I just needed to reply on the side. Perfect. And one last thing before we get started, I just had to send one Discord message. Okay, so what we're gonna do at the moment is we're gonna take this repository, which I think I already have cloned. I do have this here, but evidently not in PufferLib. Just make sure I'm not missing anything here. We'll want this. And that's enough. Okay, so today we're going to be working on, at least for a good chunk of today, we're going to be working on the Isaac Gym stuff. So this is humanoid robotics control in simulation with PufferLib. This is joint work with a collaborator of mine, and he has sent over some cleaned up code. Basically, what happened here is he started working on digging through some of these academic code bases. I put together a dramatically cleaned up environment wrapper that was like less than half the code of the original and a fair bit faster. And then he went through and he cleaned up a bunch of the other stuff around these. So now we get to look at this. And thing is, this is in the PHC. Hang on, I gotta figure out what he did here though, because he's got this not in PufferLib. Is this what I did? Hang on. Yeah, this is what I did. Okay, so he took... No, he didn't take this stuff. This is different. I'm so confused. So yeah, this is needed. But I'm very confused. Say 24. Why is this back to 2,000 lines? Hang on, maybe this isn't his code. Yeah, okay, no, this is not. Env clean first pass. Oh, geez, he did. Why? Okay, I'm gonna go run this, but I'm pretty confused here. Single file env. Well, I guess I just put it here. Wait. Just making sure this isn't going to break everything. I'm hoping that this isn't going to download some like weirdo version of Torch or something. Let me see if I can even figure this out. And it's just like, they should be in the Puffer repo already. Okay, so this is like reasonable. I see what's at least done here. This is the Puffer wrapper. This is the only one where I'm just like, I'm confused. Because hang on, right? If I just go to I can't even tell if he used it here. It looks like it. But then there's some changes made. Okay. So this he definitely used. Okay, so he did just change up. Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to figure out what Kyung did with my code here. See, I took him out of the whole bunch of confusing methods, and I can't tell if he put him back. Or if he just didn't use it. Okay, yeah, no, he just didn't use it because this wouldn't be here. But he did use some of it, so now I'm just very confused. So he clearly read through the env. But then he reverted a bunch of other stuff. So basically, I don't know what he did here. How long should writing an env like Pong? I don't know because I didn't do Pong. I can tell you how long the envs that I wrote took. The grid env, I had already a prototype of it, like of a much simpler version that had like it had a bunch of dated stuff, but I had some structure in place. And then actually making that work and adding the maze and stuff, that took like 2 days. Um, long take. I don't know. Most of the small M's are gonna be between like a day and a half and 3 days. Most of the small ones. What's happened here? Probably this one doesn't matter. Yep, so something didn't install. Stupid thing. Nor installed. Great. Hey, what's up? How's it going? We are currently attempting to get the this new code branch with Isaac Gym and Isaac Sim running. And see if we can finish the Puffer integration with, there's some additional motion loading code that needs to get integrated. To be fair, the format that the code is in now looks like it will mostly be a drop-in, but there's still too much of it. But what we should be able to do from this is at least get basic training working, and we should be able to do at least one of the easier imitation tasks. So based on motion data, we should be able to at least get the bot doing roughly what is seen in the motion data. I mean, the main thing with all of these projects is just there's like the academic repos used as references are always just so bloated that pretty much once you clean everything up, things become very simple and you can do whatever you want. Yeah, not launching coins, man. Still not launching coins. I'm doing ultra high perf RL here. Not doing crypto. I also find it pretty amusing how you always have multiple people, multiple X accounts join at exactly the same time. Heck of a coincidence then for that to happen literally every time. Look, if you're looking for like a cool like crypto thing to get involved with, have you seen the like the Tetsuo stuff? That guy seems to actually be building some legitimate stuff and trying to fund it with crypto. But not what I'm doing. This guy, I knew him from before this as the admin of the C. This guy, he seems like he's actually building some legitimate like LLM tools in C, like very high performance stuff, and seems to be funding it that way. I can't tell exactly what it is he is doing. Um, it seems like he's mostly just building. He's just doing like LLM stuff, but lower level, higher perf, I guess, which is interesting. Yeah, but that's not what I'm trying to go. That's not the path I'm trying to go here. This is a company. We're scaling revenue through clients. Interesting. Something not installed correctly. Wait. Oh. Oops. I have yet to hear anybody explain what Web3 is concisely in a way that does not make it sound bullshit. This is the problem. No, seriously, like if you were to go to like OpenAI or DeepMind or like any like serious AI people and like poll them like, hey, is Web3 legit or just grift? I guarantee you the majority of them are going to be like, oh yeah, no, that's bullshit. And the same, that was the case for Web 2 several years ago, back in the day as well as mostly for IoT. Like, it seems like there are these separate hemispheres of buzzwords that cycle through. Yeah, I was very surprised. Like, to give you an idea, I legitimately thought his account got hacked when he launched the thing. They're missing data file here. What on earth? What's the end goal of the project? So reinforcement learning was a thing before language models, right? Before not language models, but before like modern LLMs. Reinforcement learning accomplished a lot of great things. Go, Dota, capture the flag. And yeah, we use games for a lot of it because games are a really good test bed, but it's also been used for like power optimization and data centers. It can be used in manufacturing processes. This is here, it's for animation generation. It can be used in just a lot of unintuitive optimization processes across a ton of different industries. And it was working very well without a huge amount of investment. You know, RL didn't get billions of dollars the way language models have. But then people kind of just stopped working on it. And what I'm trying to do is massively revamp the space by making all the RL tooling, all the simulators we use for training 1,000 times faster, and then enabling us to do really, really exhaustive experiments in science in order to figure out the places that RL didn't work before and make this way more stable, way easier to get working on new problems, and way more useful for tons and tons of different industries. So really, this is my effort to revamp a whole subfield of AI. It's pretty cool because you can actually, like, this is something you can actually do without having to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, we have maybe tens of thousands in hardware at the moment, and we will scale to hundreds of thousands in a few months. But that's about all you need. Whom will your competitors be? We don't have any. We don't have any. Nobody else is doing this. And that's kind of the way I like stuff. I like doing way out there things. It's like, if you're kind of just trying to do something better than the next guy, I get bored. You know, I get very bored. I mean, there are people who have tried to do like industry RL things in the past, and there are like still a few people that do. But I mean, the way that we're doing things is so massively different, it's not even close to comparable. We have 20,000 lines worth of C environments, simulations, games in C that we use for training that run like 1,000 times faster than most of what is out there. It's just a very different scale and a very different approach. Grab tensor. Okay, so this is clearly not installing correctly. Sometimes local install breaks. So yeah, I mean, there is very cool tech around here. And the reason I don't need to really look to alternate sources of funding is it's still pretty small. You know, we've only got a couple of clients. It'll scale. But I mean, it's really the type of thing where once you have a company using the stuff in PufferLib, because RL is really hard, right? RL is like really, really hard. But as soon as you start using some of this stuff in PufferLib, and as soon as I get my hands on whatever it is that you're trying to solve, people say, oh my gosh, like, wow, this is like so dramatically useful. We'd be insane not to use this. This is where all the growth has come from. List index. Is this a consistent error or is this a probabilistic error? How is it that when I put a breakpoint, this stops working? Do I get a different error? No, okay, I do get the same error. Motion data load. Empty. So, assumedly, this just didn't load the data file and silently failed. Right? And didn't send me any data files. Motion file. Load data motion file. Oh, wait, I think that it'll be in... Hey, welcome. How's it going? We are doing something a little different today. Working on... Where is this? Working on some high fidelity continuous control stuff with the Isaac gem. Okay, so it's sample data, AMAS. Still watching, really interesting. Thank you. Honestly, like, it's kind of funny that when I'm like talking about stuff, I tend to get more people watching this and it gets up to like 8 or 10. But then when I actually have to start like really working on stuff and fixing stuff, which is probably the thing that people can learn the most from, people kind of get bored. But it's like, it's funny because I don't do anything that's that complicated, but it's very, very effective. Like yesterday, there was an academic code base for a very good idea. I spent like, I don't know, 6 hours just picking it apart and cutting down the code. And I ended up with like 300 lines of code instead of 2,000, and it actually worked instead of being a broken mess. And it's like, this is all I do. That's how I get stuff done. But yeah, yesterday, the one from yesterday was particularly convoluted. Like, I actually had a headache after doing all that. Uh, yeah. Unfortunately, it is 7 a.m. in California right now. So I don't know if I'm getting this data file anytime soon. Can I get this from somewhere? I mean, I see sample data. Can I just download this from AMAS? Are you active there? Yeah, of course. We have a lot of stuff organized in there. Yeah, carbs is crazy. We will be back to that. That is, I think at the moment that's the highest leverage thing that I'm doing in RL. We have all these environments. This is going to be the next highest thing because this is going to, first of all, it's going to cut down your training time massively, your experiment time. But second of all, it's going to give you extreme confidence in your experiments. That, you know, if you run something, you're not going to be wrong because of hyperparameters. You're always going to have good hyperparameters. And right now that is not true in RL. And in fact, I would say, you know, a high double-digit percentage of published RL research at top conferences is wrong purely because of hyperparameters. You guys already have clients? Yeah, we have a couple. I'm working on finding a few more. I would ideally, I'd like to have somewhere between 5 and 10. That's about what I can support at current scale. And that would bring us to, I mean, that would get us enough revenue to buy whatever hardware, pay people, and like do what we want. And also, it's more than that, right? Because like our stuff is still open source, so when we build stuff for clients, we're actually improving PufferLib in the process in a very, like in a real world use case, right? So like this stuff here, this is actually for a company that wants to use this for real stuff that they're solving. So we're improving Puffer's capabilities on this front at the same time. Even if the hyperparameters work very well in one of the Puffer M's, isn't it unlikely that those parameters are optimal for different for a custom M? You just rerun the sweep, and the sweep will be faster than before, right? So the sweep is part of your experimentation. Let's just re-roll that. Hang on, gotta go confirm the thing. What we are doing at the moment counts as non-commercial because this is open source research. So we are allowed to do that. And there we go. PufferLib contributors, the ones who do client work too. Not yet. And the reason for that is that when I am, pitching larger contracts to clients, at the moment, it is I'm pulling people like PhD students who I have previously worked with extensively on research projects. So I'm pulling highly vetted people who also have pedigree. Now in the future, what's likely going to happen is from there, as Puffer gets larger, it will start to be, I start pulling in like major contributors on like on a gig sort of a basis, paid gig sort of basis for building specific environment stuff. And then from there, it's like as we get larger contracts, I might then be able to bring in contributors on the engineering side. And it doesn't just have to be PhD students. That's all down the road though. So I guess technically one of the people I'm working with now for contract on the contracting basis was somebody who started as a contributor to another of my open source projects a while ago. I did register. Where's the download? What in the heck? A mass train. I would like to know which of these. It depends who you're trying to attract. For the vast majority of people I work with, tokenizing would be a negative signal. Like a huge negative signal. Like it really doesn't do anything for me. BZ2. What in the heck? Honestly, I think in the future. Well, here, if you want like a real response to that, this space has to fix itself and become associated with a legitimate method of, as far as I see it, like the most that you could do with a token is you could kind of use it to make a company public without making it public, and without going through all of that. And like for smaller projects, it's kind of a way to crowdsource stuff in that way. But the thing is, at the moment, that's not how this is viewed. It's viewed as like this giant meme thing where people just like pump currency in, and then eventually, people get left holding the bag, and it's all just like a giant scam. That is the perception. That's not my perception. That is the general perception among serious people in tech. So, and it's, for the most part, it is a legitimate one as well because of just the amount of grift in the space. So it's the type of thing where if you want this to be considered seriously, you have to clean up the space. In my view, it's on the existing people in this space to clean it up if you want to bring outside people in. Right? I do not inherently have any interest in crypto. Right? I don't. My interest is in AI. So all my time and energy is in pushing AI forward. So if the crypto people want to push crypto forward, they got to do that. You see what I mean? I mean, it's like the same thing as me saying, hey, if some of you language model people, right, if some of the language modeling people came over to reinforcement learning and helped us build stuff, right? We could make this a legitimate thing that a lot more companies see as useful faster. But it's not on those people who are doing stuff in a different space and being successful there to come over, right? It's on me and the other people who are in RL to demonstrate the value of it. Do you see what I mean? So that is the problem that you're going to have to solve if you want crypto to succeed in that way. Because and you need to have like a very clear, why is this useful to me? Because it's very, very hazy. It's very buzzwordy at the moment. You can't just go, oh yeah, Web3, right? It's like, well, what the hell is this, right? How does this benefit a project? If I'm building something in a space and I don't inherently care about crypto, why is this useful to me, right? If some company comes to me with RL and says, hey, we've got robots in a factory and we are writing code to control the way that they run around and it's really hard, I can go, oh, cool. Well, we can write a simulator of that and then we can run reinforcement learning on that. We can train it on 1,000 years worth of simulated data, and then the robots will just move around perfectly. And here are a bunch of different cases where stuff like that has been done previously to superhuman levels, right? Now, can I say that just yet? Yes, I can say that, but it would be very hard. A year from now, I might be able to say, oh, we can do something like that for you almost out of the box. And that's the value, right? You see how I don't have to get the person to care about reinforcement learning? I get them to care about the result. It's the same thing. But again, this doesn't make sense to me either, right? Ready to build on anything that is tokenized. I mean, this is like, this is a new space. It's highly technical. This is something that requires substantial investment to build expertise in order to contribute in, right? Like the contributors that came in that didn't have any RL experience, they put a couple good months of work in, building environments, seeing how RL models train, debugging things, in order to get to the point where they can now actually productively reason about the outcomes of experiments and which experiments to run and things like this. So, the people that we're looking for on the development side are people that are going to be interested in the reinforcement learning, right? The heck is this? bzip2. I frankly haven't been following as closely since he tokenized because like most of the stuff on X now is no longer, deep technical content. It's mostly just filled with like crypto memes. So in a way, like it shifted the space in a direction that's pushed out a lot of serious developers as well. Right? Like before that happened, I would hang around that community because hey, there are a bunch of low-level people building stuff, and we're using the same low-level stack in Puffer. Now, not so much. What in the heck is this? This gave me a non-gzipped tar file. What the heck? And I gotta figure this out. Bizarro. I mean, what it looks like to me is the crypto folks are making the same mistake as like every single tech enthusiast, right? Which is there are some people that you're going to be able to get excited about the tech that you're building, right? You're going to be able to get some people excited about crypto. But then there is a much larger audience, right, that's working on other tech, very technical audience even, working on other stuff, that you're only going to be able to get excited about, what it can do for the thing that they're interested in working on, regardless of interest in your thing. Nope. I've never had to do that. That's funny. And then the individual files inside of this are zipped as well. What the hell, academics? Okay, this is like too much of a mess. I think I'm going to have to wait for Kyung here to figure out how to mess with this. Okay, as soon as he's awake, I will, he'll be up in an hour or two. He's on California time. So I think in the meantime, I'll go back to the other stuff I was doing, which is fine. Maybe, I want to at least like read through some of his stuff a little bit more though, so I'll be able to discuss this more clearly. So let me see exactly what it is that's going on here. So PufferLib has this demo. This demo has environment.py, which just includes this humanoid. And then clean PufferLib, which is, this is just our copied trainer file from the main repo. This is fine. Ini file. Yep, this is a config. Perfect. This is a config in the same format as we use for all of our other environments. We've got a learn to walk in 20 minutes. These layer norm TANH policies are always freaking weird to me. I do not like these because layer norm is always slow. But fine. If the message doesn't show up in chat, then it means that either X or Restream ate it. If it doesn't show up on the screen, like right here, then I'm not seeing it. Sweeps you're doing, are they like grid search? It does include Bayesian optimization. It's based on carbs, which is an extension of Bayesian optimization to cover the set of Pareto optimal hyperparameter sets with respect to cost of running the experiment, usually train time in seconds, and then the score output. And we are making some large changes to that code and to the math of that in order to improve on top of that as well. We also have versions of that without Bayesian optimization that still try to explore a Pareto front. So we have a lot of different methods here. It does seem like Bayesian optimization are the winners for the most part from what I've seen. Multi-objective. It's not really multi-objective. It's just that you keep around as a candidate set the Pareto optimal points that you've explored so far, and then you use those as the search centers, right? So the basics of the algorithm are you start off by randomly sampling some points, you figure out which ones are Pareto, and then starting from the Pareto points, you randomly sample points nearby, and then you use Gaussian processes and some fancy math to score which points you think are going to do the best, and then you use those. And if you discover new Pareto points, then those become new search centers. Performance and time. Sure, if you want to call that multi-objective optimization, whatever, you can. It doesn't really change the math, and it doesn't really change the math or the implementation. I don't know, people throw around the word multi-objective a lot in reinforcement learning and the areas of ML that I look at, and I've never really understood why, because we kind of just run the same thing on them anyways. Multi-agent is another fun one as well. Did a whole PhD on multi-agent stuff, and we use the exact same algorithms as single agent. Okay, so here's the policy. Here's the environment. So far, this is not bad. I expect that as the environment then is where everything kind of explodes, because you get this humanoid PHC, which is here, and then this is going to import everything, right? POSLib, MotionLib, and torch utils. And this thing. Do you think it's plausible to do MCTS and Puffer? Yeah, sure. So all you would do for that, you'd pick an environment that you want this to work for in Puffer. There's one change that you would want to make to your environments to support this better, which would be you would want to make it so that you malloc, instead of having a couple different mallocs as we have now, you would malloc all your memory at once so that your state set is just a mem copy. So you had really, really fast state sets. And then you would just like look at clean PufferL, replace the PPO portions of the logic with MCTS, and then you would have really fast MCTS. Wondered if their Pareto front with only... No, Pareto optimality is it's multivariate, yes, by definition. A Pareto front is only defined when you have multiple variables. The point is that it is the set of Pareto points with respect to cost and score are the set of points for which you cannot find something that has both higher score and lower experiment runtime. Yeah, but XPCT, the idea with PufferLib is Puffer is not a giant repository of algorithm implementations, right? We work a lot more on lower level infrastructure. We work on other areas of things that are like underinvested in, stuff like hyperparameter search. We work on like tweaks to existing algorithms for the most part, but the goal is not to just have a big repository of all the existing algorithms. Now that said, if you have an existing algorithm, CleanRL has a lot of them, right? And our trainer is based on CleanRL. It just has some extra logging and some performance optimizations. So you can just take your algorithm code, put it into our trainer, and then there you go. You have, your algorithm with all our nice fast optimizations. But yeah, we're way more interested in finding like the good algorithm generally to use everywhere than we are in trying to like provide a repository of existing algorithms that you have to try all of them. And so far we're based on PPO because that's simple, it works very well. Doesn't mean it will always be the case. We might just need some small modifications to PPO. We might need to do something completely different, we'll see. But so far this has been good. And you know, PPO does have precedent of solving very hard problems. Okay, so all this is technically just to fix up the data. So if we forgive this, and there's some stuff to forgive here, because this is 1,200 freaking lines of code. And this is 700 lines of code. PHC. Okay, this is my code, so I don't have to read this. And this is like kind of portions of my code, I think, mixed with the original mess of code. Yeah, so like this is the original. But he cleaned it up at least, so this is no longer calling like super and stuff. But like, I see. So he's cleaned it up. He's kind of like unnested all the horrible functions that were being used in a way. But he hasn't understood why the functions were there in the first place. Because like the only reason to have these 3 separate functions is because of all the horrible inheritance that was being done before. You can just put the code here, or you can make it one function. Like there's no reason to have a physics step, and a post now. Your functions are allowed to be long. Okay, this is new. And remember this code. Gym puffer spaces. Yeah, so we just added this in here and kept all of this. I mean, I'd rather just this be hard-coded because it's already hard-coded to the base model. So like this is redundant. Okay, so this is where you use MotionLib. At least this looks like it's easier to work with though. Yeah, okay. Yep, I read this before. Okay, so I think I sort of have an idea of what happened here. And then okay. So I have an idea of what happened here at least. Cool. Let's go from here to back to the cool hyperparameter tuning stuff, at least until Kyung is up. So to give a brief overview of what I was doing in hyperparameter sweeping stuff, I think this is the most important thing I can work on in reinforcement learning right now, because if you get this right, the entire cost of running RL experiments drops by probably a factor of anywhere from 2 to 10. And also you get to be way more confident in the outcome of your experiments. Just way higher confidence science, which is always good. So this paper, right, this is based on Pareto optimality, uses Bayesian optimization. The goal is to discover the front of Pareto optimal points. That is the set of points, the set of hyperparameters, the set of experiments for which you can't find to be a set of hyperparameters that will be both faster and higher scoring than what I have now. That is the high level of it. To do that, there is a very simple base algorithm. The very simple version of the algorithm is that you take some random samples, you find which points are Pareto optimal, so which points are on that curve. I can draw it real quick. So if you have some points like this, if you have some points like this, then the Pareto front is like this. Right? These are the points that are Pareto optimal because there's nothing to the up and right. There's nothing over here. So what you can do is you can randomly sample some data. Let's say these points come from random samples. Then what you do is you start looking around these points. You start looking around in hyperparameter space, and then you try to put points here, 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 so on. And then you can do this just by randomly sampling experiments, like randomly sampling around these points. But you can also do a whole bunch of math and try to do better. I will put the current math on screen. We have made some changes to this since we've made some major changes to this. Right, and I believe that we had neo v2 no mean. Okay. Visualized high, neo v2. This was the experiment that we started on last time. This somewhere, and then Okay, so this is what we got from yesterday. Let me look at this. There's quite a lot of math I'm keeping in my head at the moment, but I will try to talk through my thoughts in a way that they're at least somewhat intelligible. Where is the... Here it is. Normalized score mean minus normalized nearest Pareto score. I would not expect this to produce that graph. You should get something uniform along this line from this function. I think what's happening here is it's the way the score is being normalized. Normalized score mean normalized nearest Pareto score. Okay, this is... Do you happen to be able to connect me? That's the thing. Nobody who I know who is in my circle would do that. They'd look at me like I'm nuts, right? They would literally they'd probably try to email me and tell me that my Discord account or whatever I messaged them on got hacked. Do you see what I mean? That's the problem that you've got to fix. Is right now you can only do this with people who are already in your space because of the perception that you have of that space. I mean, because of the perception around that space. So that's the thing to work on. I don't know. It's more basic business than it is tech. And I took some classes at the business school while I was at MIT, and I realized that it's way easier as a tech person to just get some of those business skills than it is vice versa. It's very simple stuff, right? It's like person you're talking to cares about hardware or AI or something that's not crypto. You're trying to sell them because it's crypto. They don't care, right? They think that that your thing is a scam. You demonstrate value. You try to you work to push out some of the grifters or at least minimize their impact. You say, hey, this can do X, Y, and Z for you. People are happy. It's very simple, right? You can give me plenty of examples, but the thing is, these are just going to be considered outliers until you shift the whole mass of it better, right? Yeah, look, if I were clever, right? If I'm a clever person and I cared about crypto and I wanted to fund something using crypto, I could probably come up with some cool way to basically allow people to invest in a company without having to be subject to the regulations, the normal regulations via crypto while still being legal. That's basically what you could do with it. Right? It's like you can IPO without IPOing and potentially with more favorable terms. And you can IPO on day one. At least until the government catches up and decides to come up with some way that you can't do that. I'm on your side there. You gotta get the damn grifters out. I think I need the inverse of this function. I think that's what it comes down to, is I need to be able to undo the quantile transform here. But I don't really want to have to undo the quantile transform. Send you majority. That doesn't make a difference. That's still being affiliated with it. But the thing is, again, it's like, I'm doing legit tech work here. People see that. I'm not going to compromise that by stepping into a space that's just filled with grifters and charlatans. You see? Even if there were some upside, like some substantial upside, I have to balance it against that. Like, there simply isn't a compelling argument. Hey, welcome. I'm not doing nothing at the moment, by the way. I'm still thinking through this. So, I mean, what's happening at the moment, as far as I can tell with this, where is it? This here is the difference between the score of this, like, of a point, say this point here, and the score of the nearest Pareto point. So So it's this vertical distance, except that it's normalized by a quantile transform. So, oh, I think I see what's happening. The only agreement that you're going to get out of me, right, is that you could have a really good vehicle, in fact, the vehicle of getting like community crowdsourced like projects, decentralized projects, open source dev off the ground and running and well funded. Without all the normal strings of VC, you could have something really good there. But it's not there at the moment. Here, let me tell you what this would be like, right? This would be like if instead of hosting Puffer discussions and stuff on Discord, what if I hosted all of the communications on 8chan, if that's even still around? What would the reception be to that? That's about the quality of the brand that you have behind new tokens. We'll come back. So hopefully this is useful information, assuming that you're not just purely trying to convince me of this, and you are looking for that. I mean, the whole meme coin, shit coin, pumped out fun thing is not helping. If this is your objective, like even the existence and the prevalence of this is not helping. I don't know the particular reason, by the way, for the dev ecosystem being around Solana. Maybe there is a technical reason for it. But as an outsider, if I were trying to actually do that, right? If I were trying to actually make that happen, I would distance myself as much as possible from the existing mess. I'd probably do it on Bitcoin or Ethereum, probably Bitcoin. And, I would work to push all of that side out, right? That's what I would do. How much money there is on versus Bitcoin? No way. Market cap for meme projects or market cap total? Well, yes to which? I mean, again, for all the reasons I've stated, you're not going to get me onto this thing. All I can do is tell you how I would go about trying to fix the ecosystem if I were actually going to. But like I'm doing AI stuff. Right? I think I have as well in the during this process. I think I figured out what is going on here. So this is a quantile transform. It starts by taking this data and ranking. Essentially, it's almost like a rank transform. It just replaces each point with the percentile it is in the data. So this would be like, this is probably like 20% of the data is down here, or 30%, and this is maybe 40%. But then it converts it to a unit normal. So I think that what happens then is the mean is going to be around here, and then it creates a long tail distribution over here. So the distance between these 2 points is actually quite large, and the distance between points over here is quite small, which is not at all what we want. Okay, big number. Is that trillion? Yeah. Wait. Yeah, that's trillion. Yeah, tiny fraction. Again, but where's the volume coming from? You see this quantile. So I think it's the Earth inverse is where we go wrong. But there's still an issue here, right? Cost. I think we need to use cost. Okay, I think I see the problem. I see the problem. Okay, so here's the issue, right? For folks, I think I've actually figured this out in the meantime, so this is the issue. Let's say that you have one Pareto front that looks like this. It's a line. This one would be very easy to optimize, because what you can do is say, hey, if I have this existing point here, and I have this existing point here, and I want to evaluate the quality of this point here as a sample, I just take this distance, right? I just subtract the distance from the nearest Pareto point in height space. But the issue with doing this is that you can also have a Pareto front that looks like this, where it's pretty darn flat towards the top. Not exactly flat, but pretty darn flat. So if you do that, then you can't do a vertical distance at all. What if you do horizontal distance instead? So if you have a point here, you have a point here, it's this distance. This point still has to be better, but you can't use the magnitude of the improvement. I would consider doing it if there were clear value demonstrated, and right now it's clearly negative. It's like, why do I host all this stuff in Discord? Because Discord is recognized as the clear place to do this stuff. I think this makes me negative money at the moment. Welcome, Captain. I think I figured something out on these sweeps. I'm trying to think if there's anything wrong with this. With the way it is currently, there's no way you're going to convince me of this. You'd have to change the ecosystem. The only thing you can convince me is that there's potential if you fix the ecosystem. So the issue is that Captain, the issue is even with the quantile transform, vertical distance doesn't give you what you want. So this is without a cost penalty. And I think what's happened here, so you do the quantile transform, right? And then you pull it into normalized space. So it's uniform normal. And then what happens is like the mean is right here. And that means that the Gaussian has the long tails out this way and this way. So the distance between these close little points here in this normalized space is very large, and the same over here. So you end up getting just a ton of samples over here, and it will very slowly creep towards the center. Is not what you want. And if you were to undo the normalization step and just have the quantile transform, well, the quantile transform, it just gives you a percentage. You just get a percentage of the data that you're better. So here you're better than, say, 40% of the data, and if there are 100 points here, you're better than 41, 42. It's just like a rank transform. But then the distance you see between this point and this point is only 1, which is the same as the distance between this point and this point is also 1. So it really doesn't help you. You still aren't going to get the effect of filling in the Pareto front if that's what you want. If I do it based on cost, like doing it based on cost, I think is the only way to actually get the Pareto front filled in. I mean, the only other thing you could do, right, is you would have to figure out how to linearize. Okay, wait, hang on. Now it's exploring hyperprim, not really the cost space. Kind of, but the thing is they're linked. Hang on, is there a way to make this uniform uniform linear? Does that work somehow? Okay, the other thing I could think of, right, is there a way to transform the score space to always be linear? I think I need to work on inverting this function, because if I invert this function, then at the very least I can test it on this. Because here the score space is legitimately linear. Inv. No man, I don't have any addresses. And I appreciate it, but we're not and this is not donationware. This is not charityware. This is you know, like I'm really just not interested in engaging with crypto in any way around my project. The most helpful thing at the moment is just like getting more RL people interested in the project and deving environments and stuff. Um, that's the main thing. Speaking of which, Captain, if you're still around, I should take a look at your environment as of late. Um, yeah, there's a bunch more cool science side stuff to be done here. So hopefully we can get that. I can take a look and help fix up any issues with baselines on that environment and get that added pretty soon. That'd be awesome. It's a really cool environment. I'd like to at least throw together a quick shader or two for it, just to jazz it up a bit. That'd be fun. Okay, so you take all this. Oh, good. If it gets even faster, that's all the better. Yeah, it just needs to be jazzed up a little bit, right? Just so people see it. What do we think the odds are that this got this correct on the first try? Not even remotely close. That's hilarious. It literally just like wrote normalized scores and then filled it in the same exact way. That's so stupid. by square root of 2. Hold on, let me see. Running into training issues with large physics time steps. Physics delta fairly large. Yeah, of course that'll happen, right? That's how physics works. You gotta balance it. You just do the smallest you can get away with. Is the CA out? What's that? CCD on projectiles, though. Supposed to solve it. How? Okay, I don't know how that works. Yeah, I know. I've been dealing with people bugging me about that for a long time. No, it's not mine. I made a post about it. I already made an announcement. It's not mine. Okay. Okay, so you can't undo the clip. That's fine. I'm not. No token. Look. Make an announcement about this stupid thing. I did it when they originally. Where the heck is it? Should be able to search your own posts. I don't know. I made an announcement about it whenever the heck they originally did it. See, this is what I mean, though. I literally have like dozens of DMs like this. And you think I'm going to engage with this ecosystem at all? Of course not. I have 2FA on it. It's fine. Terp. This is kind of obnoxious to undo. Is this even... this isn't even invertible, is it? I think I saw something in the original code about this as well. Because this transform is not... I'm pretty darn sure this is not invertible. You're not gonna bribe me to, like... It's not how it works. When you sleep, when the work is done. Many, many hours. No, there are no meme coins. I'm on EST. I get up between 7 and 8 usually, and minus exercise and food, I usually work until like somewhere between 8 and 10 p.m. Devo, it's that I've had a lot of people bugging me about this lately, and I'm not in that space at all. I've literally have dozens of DMs, and I'm just trying to build AI stuff here. Let me just do this real quick. Just gonna keep that for records. Because that sounded like a threat. Yeah. The thing is, he's just going to come back on another account, I'm sure. I might just work off stream today, we'll see. Mm-hmm. This is definitely fairly distracting, though. I want to get this stuff done. You see? Okay, so target. Surrogate to target. How does this have an inverse? I really don't want to have to use this stupid thing. Back projection to original space. Transform. Okay, so this is just iter. And I do not like this transform. I really don't like this function that they're using. It's kind of a mess. Is there something else I could do with it? Let me think. Think here. And they cause it to match the uniform. I mean, it's like a thing that makes sense to do, but let me see. I might be able to replace this with something simpler because I really do not like the added complexity from this. Nope, did not launch. That's fake. There is no launch. Let me see. Nope. This is an AI project. Go find how I have this at the moment. Oops. Wrong one. I'm just gonna ban all the new alt accounts as they come in. That's stupid. Got nothing better to do all day? Okay, man. It's your life, not mine. Looking for more engineers for this project. It's all open source. It's all organized in the Discord. Yeah, I think that you can just rank buckets. Numerically. Unnecessary quantile buckets. Does the quantile give you any information I don't think so. All of our stuff is public right here, puffer.ai. You can try out all the M's. If you're interested in contributing, join the Discord. And I generally suggest that new folks take a quick look at the quick start guide here and start by building just a really basic RL environment to get a sense of how things work, especially if you come in without an RL background. Yeah, I don't know why they're doing. Why did they specifically? There was a comment in there, right? Using preserves more distance information within the quantiles. At this point, I almost don't care if this thing works better. It's just like, it's complex. There's no intuition behind this. I don't see how it fits here, and I want it out of the code base. Yeah. We can just run a quick experiment as well to see. So get rid of this. Let me real quick. Go. Figure we do that. What's this function rank data? Oops. What did I use? I used quantile. Yeah, I don't need quantile. I just need divided by. Yeah, that's fine. The +1 is fine. Okay. Percentile. Of course. Normalized scores. Okay. Mode. Is this going to produce dramatically different behavior? That would also be interesting. Is there anything else wrong here? Normalize nearest. You know, this is fine. Whatever I apply to this will be applied to the Pareto front. So I'll just have to wait and see how this thing explores outward. Oh, the thing is that this is still a Gaussian, so it should push to the extremities. We will see. Doesn't seem like it's really doing that yet. But here, let's just prepare this. So Okay, so this thing is pushing up in cost. So that's something at least. And then we'll see what happens when we unnormalize it. Gotten up to 40s. Well, I think that because of the rank transform, there's not a huge amount of differentiation between the points at the very end, right? Yeah, there's not a huge amount of difference. Okay, so that's a problem. Can I somehow... Well, I have to undo the percentile, don't I? See, this just gets us back to percentile. This just gets us to percentile, and then we have to unnormalize. I believe we have to unnormalize. I think you just call interp. Okay, let's see what this gives us. No, so this is not good. But the other one wasn't good either. It was just bad in a different way. That's terrible. Really don't like that. Why should they have to be? Oh no, that's kind of gross, actually. So this is obnoxious because I think you need... I think you do need the rank transform. I'm pretty sure you do need the rank transform. Let me explain what's going on here, right? Oh, wait, hold on. We can test it. We can test it without the rank transform. Because I have linear data in this test. Okay. Let me try this and then I'll explain. This at least should let us construct a reasonable test, and then we'll see if this is worth dealing with. Okay. So here's the idea. We were doing this prematurely. So if you have something that looks like this, you cannot rely on the magnitude on the y-axis, the score of these points, for really anything. Because the Pareto front can have so many different shapes. But because we have linear data for this test, and we know it is linear data, we should be able to skip the rank transform. Now, when I tested this previously, I forgot to convert the data to standard normal. So that'll mess it up. But now what I have is data gets converted to standard normal. Prediction happens in standard normal space, which is what you want for a Gaussian process. And then the unnormalized is very simple because we didn't have to deal with the rank transform. And then what this should let us do is test the algorithm nicely on linear data and actually get some reasonable results. And then we can decide what data transform needs to be applied to handle different score distributions, right? Oh, is this doing what I think it is? This is hilarious. It's like laddering its way down. Actually, if this is actually what it's doing, it's too smart for its own good. I mean, I'm looking at it, and that's what it's doing. I guess that would make sense. Okay, we're gonna let this finish, and then I'll explain. I'll explain what I think it's done. That's hilarious. I think it's literally gotten... The algorithm's too good for... it's too smart for its own good here. It found a way to cheat my objective. Yeah, so the rank transform was just screwing everything up, I think. And now it's going to something more reasonable. I didn't see like a bunch of 50s ever, did I? Oh no, they're 50s. It still should fill in, there's some other regions that should fill in though. Man. Do you see that most of the points are slowly working their way down? 113, 112, 111. It's got a very accurate cost model as well, so it's very good at doing this. And then there are some other ones. It looks like it's also working its way down from 82. It's working its way down from multiple points simultaneously. Don't know about that 180. This is going to be a crazy looking graph. And the funny thing is I can't even be mad because this is a straight screw up in my original? No, it's a property of the cost actually in this case. Interesting. It all comes down to the scaling of the cost and the score. If you have these two things scaled correctly, it should work. I'm actually tempted to now try this on the log cost problem. So funny. So what's happened here, I'm pretty confident at this point, is I specified the reward for this experiment as the improvement over the next lowest cost Pareto point. So what it's done here is it's gotten some random samples that are very high cost, and then there are some other points that are Pareto points that are like way to the left, and it's just going a little tiny bit to the left and getting the full reward, and then going a little bit to the left of that one and getting the full reward, and it's just repeating that continuously. So it's like laddering its way down from the top. Yeah, look at this. That's one heck of a crazy graph. it started up here and it worked its way down. It started up here and it worked its way down. It started up here and it worked its way down. So technically this is one of the better results that we've gotten in terms of coverage, but it's still clearly not working the way we want, right? It's making these little tiny jumps instead of trying to actively cover the Pareto front. Are you kidding me? Freaking messing with my Discord now. Fuck off. Real quick. Just fixing a couple things. Okay, so back to this. If the increment is divided by the cost, it's still not going to fix it, right? Okay, I think I just need to reformulate this objective a little bit, because the penalty term that I introduced will definitely cause this every time. The thing is, I don't want to explicitly have a term that tells you to spread out in cost space, do I? Maybe I do. You want to fill out the Pareto front. Okay, hang on. Thing is, I think that even difference in rank could be really unstable, right? I think there are two competing issues here. Mhm. Okay, what if for now I just think about this instance and I stop trying to think about the harder ones in my head at the same time? Performance increment divided by cost. It's distance to nearest point. Performance divided by distance to nearest Pareto point. That loses the notion of, though, of capturing. You really just want the divisor term to have cost. The performance per cost. Well, no, that's fine. The top thing can have a divisor as well. It's like information gain. technically the algorithm would work as is if no, it really would never work as is. Yeah. Okay, pretty much the only way you're ever gonna get a filled-in Pareto front is by explicitly having a cost term. I think we should accept that. So let me try something. Okay, so here this distance cost mean. Suggestion scores equals. This is just going to be for now. Does this do what I want? Yeah, so score no. It's times, right? Score times distance to nearest Pareto. We'll see what this does. I have no idea. What happened here? Huh? Ah. Jeez. Hmm. Can't I just do this? Yeah, that looks good. Hopefully I did it right. Okay, these predictions suck, so I messed something up. Or it just took a while. That's weird. Okay, there's definitely a weird boundary issue. We'll let that run for a bit. Nearby. I'm gonna go use the restroom. I'll be back. I gotta do a couple other quick things. I'll be back. This will run. We'll continue on this for a bit at least. Okay. Oops. Cool. I got some replies back. Okay. So let's see what this is. And I'm gonna keep this one as well. Okay, so this actually gives us pretty darn even coverage. Right? These, I don't know what these are. We can look at that. There are a couple of these like columns. This one's the one that doesn't make sense to me right here. Yeah, a couple of these columns here. But generally, this is pretty nicely spread. Hey, Ryan. How's it going, man? We're currently doing very weird hyperparam op things. I got one that like selects points and then tries to slowly drip down in cost. Did you see the new Maze M? It's pretty cool. I have it, I posted it on here. Doors. Well, I wasn't going to put doors in the mazes, right? I have a mini grid thing, though. Actually, I can just do. So here's the initial maze, right? Here's your initial maze. This is tiny one. You can just do, oops. I think you might have seen this. This like mini grid style task. We have to get this key to open this door. So we have a few things. I'm very, very fast as well. So I figured this is going to be, Puffer is going to be doing some exploration and possibly curriculum stuff rather soon. So yeah, there's going to be some things around that. Also, I should go check on Oops. I might have, okay, I gotta go. I might have a random meetings on the books. I will be